Hey, Tony Gaskins here, popping in. You know what? I want to talk to the black men specifically, not black women, not men of other races, but I'm a black man, and sometimes you have to talk to your very own, and nothing against nobody else and anyone outside of that, and not really interested in any commentary from anyone outside of that. So I'm gonna have my comments all the way off because I just need you to hear me and just sit with this. Now, to the black man, I really need you to sit down and really take out some time to think about who you are and where you are and where you are going. Then I want you to think about all around you and everything that you see, everything you've seen, and everything you've experienced in your life. And then I need you to understand your power and understand your greatness. Understand just even from your natural strength and your build, your physique, just even from how you present yourself in the room, just your power, who you are physically. Now think and understand about who you can become mentally and emotionally. And you have to understand and look at how the powers that be have a systematic attack against you. So now understand that the attack is not just physical, it's also spiritual, it's also emotional, and the attack will come in many ways. So in the beginning, it was a law that you can be enslaved in America. And being enslaved, you were property. And the only reason why we tie up and we chain things is because we fear it. That's why when you go to a zoo, you see the animals behind the fence because we fear it. We are not at one with them. So the same way as we put a tiger and a lion in a fence and we keep our distance, the same thing happened with black men, where you were seen in America as an animal. And truthfully, we see it today. You're seen as an animal in China. You're seen as an animal in all over the world in several different countries because of the color of your skin. But not just the color of your skin, but you have to understand that there's richness there. So the people in the Bible look closer to you than they do to Jim Crow. So the fact that you come from a lineage of blessings and greatness, there are people in power who want to steal your birthright. And they will do it in any way they can. So they say, listen, we will create a law that makes you a slave. You were strong and you banded together with our women and we beat slavery. Then we say we will make you segregated. So you're going to have less schools, less education, less access to education because education allows you to advance. Less opportunity for land. Then they say, okay, we will be integrated. We were separate but equal, but not really equal. Then we'll be integrated. So now you'll be integrated, but we're going to take and draw lines and we're going to put your neighborhoods because you're going to stay with your people because you're comfortable. And the funding won't be the same for the schools in your neighborhoods as they will be in other neighborhoods. So therefore, your teachers are going to be upset. Your parents have to be overworked and underpaid just because the bosses are typically of another race. So they get to determine what they're going to pay you and tell you what they can and can't afford. And then when you go into the bank, the laws, the letter of the law is written so strict that if the underwriter or the loan processor wishes to uphold the letter of the law, then you won't be able to buy a home as easily as someone of another race because that very human being can call the next person up and say, hey, I know this looks a little funny for this person here, but let's just let them through. because it's not computers talking to computers, it's humans talking to humans. So being that your skin has extra melanin in it, they can say, no, we're going to stick to the letter on the law on this. We need to see every single document you have from your bank. And now there was some things put in place to block you in other ways. And guess what? I experienced it. And I have to be honest about it. And another thing that I noticed, because with the grace of God, I've been able to climb out of most of the traps that were set before me. And I still today notice and I sense when a man of another race, does not matter his race, a man of another race or nationality comes to my home to work for me, whether it's to fix my roof, to work on my pool, to mow my lawn, and he sees that I am in a better economic position than him, there is a resentment. There is an attitude from him. There is a condescending, rude tone. The questions that he asks, are you a ball player? No, I'm not a ball player, sir. Unfortunately, I feel bad that you feel that every black man who lives in a house the size of mine or in a neighborhood like mine has to play ball. I'm an author. I write books. Oh, wow. And to be able, when he sees someone that doesn't rap and that doesn't play a sport, but he can tell earns his salary in a week, then that disrupts his spirit. And in that moment, he gets to see the power and the position and the potential of a black male who knows his worth, who knows who he belongs to, whose he is, and is not given to the messages of the masses that have put ignorant, fatherless, lost young men in positions of influence. Think it not strange that someone like myself has to go to YouTube to get a message out, where you can turn on your television and see ignorant black men who were raised without a father, without a strong mother, without guidance, without knowledge, wisdom, understanding. The powers that be will put them in a position of influence because they know that the people who don't look like him will not listen to him, that they will see him as a circus monkey, as a circus clown. But the people who look like him will listen to his messages about fornication, violence, gangbanging, drug use, and all of those things, and take it to heart and start to try to emulate him because he has the appearance of success, because we equate money with success. And now what happens is we are bombarded with teenage pregnancy, with STDs, and with gang violence. But the movies that are approved, the television shows that are approved, the music that is approved and marketed to the masses has a message for people that look like you, black brother, to destroy you, to confuse you, to say, hey, this man over here is speaking wisdom, but he looks broke. This man over here, although he's speaking foolishness, he has the money. I want to be in that industry. I want to do what he does. Has no purpose, has no meaning. It's just about money. And then what do you see so many of these young black men with influence in rap and these other areas do? You see them spend all of their wealth. They will show you $1 million in jewelry, but will not show you $1 million in real estate, in rental property that they own. They will take and show you a jewelry collection, but will not take and show you one piece of property that they bought to pass down to their children. They will not show you, they will show you an account to brag, but will not show you their children's 529 gen account that will pay for their children's college. And in a few years, they'll be selling every single thing they own, because the powers that be will use them. And what happens is they're taking us and they're giving us money without education. You've been put in schools that are underfunded, with teachers who are hurting, lost, broken, and tired, because they are trying to teach children whose parents are addicted to food stamps and welfare, or either drugs or designer clothes. And 90% of them, yes, you can have a 10% that is in the projects, in the hood, trying to make it out with education and character and integrity. But guess what? When they put those substances in the streets, it starts to take over. So the mindset changes, and everybody is just focused on the next check, the next scam, the next Michael Jordan's drop, the next designer item that they can buy, the next tax return to go get into a car that they won't be able to afford for the rest of the year after the tax return money runs out. And it's a vicious cycle. And you have to ask yourself as a black man, because see, your woman will follow your lead, but you need to know where you're going. She will trust you in the trenches, but you need to know how to operate in spiritual and psychological warfare. You need to know that this is not about wrestling in flesh and blood, that you're not just going to pick up and go out and start taking people out, but you have to be able to think several moves ahead, that you have to be confident, faithful, stable, mentally present, emotionally intelligent, because you are at the helm of a generation. Because if you can take and you can raise greatness, instead of just spreading your seed far and wide and not being able to be 100% of a father to any one child because you spread yourself so thin. But if you can take and gain focus, gain clarity, build your relationship with God, your creator, get a message for life and how you should lead your life, and then find your wife, love your wife, and love her as Christ loved the church. Treat her like a queen. Put her on her own pedestal. Wash her in love, and allow your children to see kings and queens in the modern day operating in a healthy and a happy relationship, in a home full of love. Then your children will have confidence, and regardless of their melanin, they will believe in themselves, and they will be wise, and they will be strong, and they will be able to operate with emotional intelligence for themselves. And they will be raised up, and they will get behind the lines, and they will assume the position of power, and they will have a voice, and they will have influence, and they can affect the system, because they were not raised in the system. They were in it, but not of it. They were educated about it. They know their role, so that when they are in power, they don't succumb to the pressure of being against their own and continuing the generational curses, but instead they now can enact generational blessings. And for as many children as you have that you educate, that is another family that is educated and empowered. And so now it starts to spread like wildfire, because your children have infiltrated the system, and other children will look at them and say, he is different, she is different, What is going on? Other families will look at you and say, I want that peace. I want that happiness. How did you get it? Understand, me as a black man, I surrendered my life to God. And I say, I can't lean to my own understanding. And I don't want to operate from anger, because that does not produce anything worth having. I don't want to operate from fear. I don't want to operate from pain. I want to operate from love, self-love. I don't want to hate anyone, because if I hate someone, I give them the power to control me, because hate does not produce anything but more hate. And you are not going to do anything real about it other than internalize it and destroy your own life. I see tough black male comment warriors who say it's time to fight, but yet you're sitting on your phone twiddling your thumbs. You're not going to go out and fight physically. So cut the act and learn how to fight spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, by educating yourself, uplifting yourself, grabbing yourself by the bootstraps and pulling yourself up. Because see, the barriers are placed in your mind, because you can create. Guess what? No one is stopping me from earning. No one is stopping me from earning. No one has created something that I can't earn what a doctor earns in a month. Trust me, I've seen it. Trust me, I've done it. So I'm here to tell you that the barrier is in your mind. And if you are operating from anger, if you are depending on someone to open a door for you, no. I bought the land. I built the house from the sweat of my brow. I own the key to the door. I don't need an open door. And if you take one because you own the property taxes, guess what? I'll buy another. So understand this, that it is time to get educated. When I say educated, I'm not just speaking formal education. I mean self-education. You need to be educated about your power, about your potential, about your place on this earth, the greatness that is inside of you. And you need to know that you are called to greatness. And you, if you want to see the world change, it has to start with you. Stop acting tough. Stop pretending to be tough. Stop pretending to be mad, to be outraged. And get motivated. Get inspired. Get determined. Work on yourself, mind, body, and spirit. Start to utilize your natural God-given gifts to earn a living, to create, to build an inheritance that you can leave to your children. And guess what? Let your life be the example. God put me in a position to use me to reach millions of people with a vast array of messages depending on what's on my heart. I don't have a script that I have to follow from a television producer that only wants to push a certain type of content to people who look like me. I've been interviewed by television many times for my own show or to be a coach on the show, but when they talk to me and they realize that the wisdom that God has given me is going to break chains, it's going to unlock the shackles on the feet and the mind of my people, they said, nah, you're not a fit for this show. Basically what they're saying is we need someone ignorant. We need a clown. We need someone that's going to spew ignorance. We need someone so that the viewers that's watching this will become more ignorant and will destroy themselves, because the people who've been given a proper education, they understand and they know what the system is doing. So the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer, and people who look like you are poor, and we want to keep them poor mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, in every way. There is nothing on your television to uplift and empower little black boys and little black girls. There is nothing. There is nothing on your radio. If you listening to secular music, there's nothing on your radio. That's why we don't listen to secular music. Yeah, we might like the beat. Yeah, it might be fun to dance to. No, we listen to Christian music with messages about a love for God and a love for life that fills the spirits and the hearts and the mind of our sons. And our sons sing word for word songs about roaring like a lion for the kingdom. And see, listen, so many men have been turned away from God because you're operating from anger. Understand what anger does to you. That's what spiritual and psychological warfare is. It makes you angry, so you seek out a religion of rebellion. You want a religion that says we are going to stick it to the man, but you ain't sticking nothing to the man but your poverty, but your food stamps. You're not sticking anything to the man, acting from anger because you don't have the power to do anything with that anger physically. And you cannot operate spiritually and emotionally from a place of anger. You have to be emotionally and spiritually intelligent so that you can be physically intelligent. So see, that is the trick of the enemy that makes people believe that Jesus Christ is a punk, that Jesus Christ is a fairy tale. I'm here to tell you that I found the truth. And your anger and your bitterness will tell you that the Holy Bible is a white man's religion. That slave masters gave you the Bible. They didn't give you the Bible. They didn't even want you to read. The Bible was written in Africa. The Bible does not come from America. That is not of this land. It was Christians in Africa before it was in America. But see, we out of anger have been seeking a way to rebel, a way to fight against. And you say, oh, that's associated with them. I don't want it. Guess what? People ask me how I changed my life in every way, life, love, business. It was the Holy Bible. They say, what books have you read? I cannot give any man's of today's time book credit for my life other than the Holy Bible. So what you need to understand is you have to connect to the source. You have to connect to the source. You have no power if you don't have a power source. So get out of ignorance, get out of rebellion, get out of anger, get educated, get intelligent, and know what your true power and potential is, so that you can upend the system. My oldest son, he goes to a school and he's a minority there, and he has straight A's, no A minuses. Since they introduced A's in the 4th grade, you start getting A's and A minuses. He just finished the 7th grade. Every grade they tell him, we don't know if it's possible for straight A's, no A minuses. He does it again, and he does it again, and he does it again. All 4 report cards. We are raising greatness, emotional, spiritual intelligence. That's what we are focused on, because he will have a key to the world, to the city, to do whatever he wants to do. And he is able to study and he's able to learn because his household is filled with peace. He doesn't hear his mother and father yelling and cursing at each other. He doesn't see his dad tiptoeing out and spending the night elsewhere overnight. He doesn't see his mom crying due to the hands or the actions of his father. He can operate in peace, in health, and in confidence, so that if he wants to become the judge that holds the police officers who are taking innocent life accountable, he can be the judge. And no one can stop him from being a judge, because all you have to do is go to school, do the work, and pass the test. Your numbers don't lie. And that's what we teach our son, that son, one thing they can't take away from you are your grades. The numbers will not lie. In this day and age, they cannot say, listen, you got a 100, but because you're black, we're not going to pass you. But if they can take and put drugs in your community, put food stamps and welfare in your community, get you addicted to that, take the fathers and trip them up with prison and drugs and drug activity, then guess what? They can break down your home so that the child in the room cannot study, cannot get straight A's and no A minuses, cannot even get an A, cannot even get a B consistently, but has to settle for D's and for F's because of the turmoil and the toxicity in the home. Guess what? We all have a choice. So one thing that you're going to have to stop doing, black man, is feeling sorry for yourself. One thing you're going to have to stop doing is continuously pointing the blame at the white man, at the government, at your mother, at your father. And you're going to have to look within. What are you doing? How are you bettering yourself? How are you teaching yourself? How are you strengthening yourself? How are you maturing? How are you growing? How do you carry yourself? Are you a victim or are you a victor? That's what you have to ask yourself. How do you treat your wife? Do you have a wife? Or are you sleeping around? Are you lying and cheating and beating and misleading and manipulating and deceiving the woman in your life? How are you raising your children? Are you an example that you want them to grow up and emulate? Or are you the manifestation of a generational curse and perpetuating the cycle? That's what you have to ask yourself, black man. And when you do that, and when you accept responsibility, because understand, guess what? We're in a situation right now where a lot of places are locked down and a lot of life is different. They're trying to open back up. But guess what? Last month, I earned more than your favorite rappers. You know why? Because they could not do shows. But guess what? I was able to work with my mind. I was able to have something that I've created, that I've produced into the world. Nearly 20 books, 15 online courses, 2 or 3 different online portals. You see what I mean? Something that I created with my mind to push the world forward, to help build other people. See, you can be recession proof. You could be pandemic proof. You can get to a place to where your family is secure in every way, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. Can't nobody stop what I'm doing, because God authorized it. Because see, I went to the source. I didn't go to the resource and say, hey, can I depend on you to open a door for me? I went to the source. And he gave me the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding. Because in his book of Proverbs, he had the great man write, if you lack wisdom, ask for it, pray for it, get wisdom, because it will protect you and provide for you, and in all you're getting, get understanding. So I literally started praying the prayer every day. Lord, double my wisdom. Lord, double my faith. Lord, double my confidence. Every day I spoke the words aloud and I received. I went from nearly being a mute individual that never looked up, that never smiled and never said a word to anybody other than a teammate or a close friend whom I grew up with. I did not speak, look at to anybody to today be a intercontinental speaker, speaking into the lives of millions of people every single month, every single week. God did that because I was faithful and I was obedient and I was willing. I don't cheat on my wife. I don't beat on my wife. I don't lie to my wife. I don't manipulate my wife. I don't control my wife. I don't deceive my wife. I don't abuse my children. I don't mistreat them. No. I am the change. I am the example. I brought my son in here and I showed him what God working through a man can do. I showed him. He already see the emotional side. He get to see my emotional and my spiritual stability, but I wanted him to see the financial as well. I wanted him to see that you don't have to be a rapper. You don't have to be a ball player. You don't have to be a pawn. You can build business. You can create business. You can be the business, and you can use your mind because your mind will earn as long as you live. You don't have to depend on your vocal cords. You don't have to depend on your knees. You can use your mind and you can create legacy. You can build a brand. You can have a voice that will break down barriers. Guess what? They don't want messages like this to get out. They don't want it. They don't want it. And if anything, they may say, hey, we at least not going to let you earn on it. But you know what? I'm turning the advertisement off. That's why on this video, you haven't seen an advertisement like you normally see on YouTube videos. Because I wanted you to get the whole message, and I want you to understand this ain't about money. This bigger than money. If it was about money, you would have been watching advertisements. But see, it's certain messages that can't be interrupted. It's certain messages you need the whole message. Listen to me, black man. And everybody outside of that want to holler, oh, speak to everybody. Oh, everything ain't for everybody. Because everything ain't happened to everybody. The Chinese man ain't been through what the black man been through in America. The white man ain't been through what the black man been through in America. The Hispanic man ain't been through what the black man been through in America. This is to the black man. Hey, God bless you. I ain't giving the devil no power. I'm turning off the dislikes, the likes, the comments. Ain't nothing gonna exist today but the word. Hey, this Tony Gaskins. God bless you. I wish you the best on your journey. Keep getting better.